Hello. Wow, hello everyone. Wow, this is a full room. My goodness. I'm Andrew Navaro, head of Fantasy Flight Game Studio. Welcome to Gen Con and welcome to the 2019 In-Flight Report. Thank you all so much for being with us here this evening and for spending your time with us. This is easily my favorite part of the show, being able to see all of you, our fans, and being able to see all your smiling faces. I was a little bit worried last year. It was very dark. I can actually see everybody, which is maybe more a little terrifying than last year, but it's all right. So, everyone at FFG works extremely hard to bring you what we hope are the best, most thematic games on the planet. And it's your continued support that makes what we do possible. So on behalf of myself, the staff here at Gen Con, and everyone back at Roseville, just want to say thank you for all your continued support and encouragement. We appreciate each and every one of you, so thank you so much. All right, so it's already been a pretty cool year for us. So we have a lot of cool stuff to show to you tonight. Hopefully, earlier this year, you've had a chance to check out Lord of the Rings, Journeys of Middle-earth, our new app-integrated board game. Awesome. And Star Wars Outer Rim, our new adventure game set in the fringes of the galaxy. So tonight we'll be mostly focusing on new products and expansions that'll be coming out near the end of the year and into early 2020. But as always, know that there's a lot more going on than what we show here in this presentation. The best place to keep an eye on all of our products, obviously, is our website. And for those of you who don't know, maybe you saw Evan out here earlier doing a little introduction with his back to you. We are doing regular live streams now every Tuesday and Thursday on our Twitch and YouTube channels. It's an awesome place to see us play new and upcoming games and gives you an opportunity to interact through the chat with developers and other FFG staff. So hopefully you get a chance to catch that live. If you don't, all of those videos are archived on our YouTube channel. So if you miss anything during the week, like, hey, you might be working and responsible and not streaming content at your desk, I wouldn't know anything about that. So if you miss it, you can always check it out later. So speaking of videos, let's get started with our first new game announcement of the night. Arkham Horror Final Hour is our latest entry in the world of Arkham Horror. It's a cooperative 1 to 4 player game that places you in a desperate fight for survival where the fate of the world hangs in the balance. The game is set on the campus of Arkham's Miskatonic University. And as the investigators, you arrive on the scene moments after a ritual intended to summon an Ancient One to Earth has been completed. It is up to you to then reverse that ritual before it's too late. In Final Hour, you and your friends have only 8 turns to uncover the clues necessary to prevent the Ancient One's arrival, all the while fighting off monsters intent on killing you and destroying the university. So clues take the form of these symbols that you will uncover over the course of the game. At the end of each turn, you can decide whether or not you want to try to reverse the ritual. The more symbols you've uncovered, the easier it will be to do that. The less, obviously, the more difficult. But by the end of the 8th turn, your backs will be against the wall, and you'll have to try to reverse the ritual regardless of how many clues you've turned over. So, Final Hour provides the delightfully hectic, one step from disaster feel of like a late game eldritch horror. But you can play it easily in under an hour. Or much less if things go horribly, horribly wrong, which is entirely possible. All right, so we have a limited quantity of Final Hour for sale here at the show. And of course, you can demo it here at our booth as well. So if you get the chance, please come by and check it out. We hope you like it. Final Hour will have its full retail release later this fall. All right, thanks. Thank you. All right, so now I'd like to talk a little bit about role-playing games. Yeah, role-playing games. I love role-playing games. I think they're an amazing excuse to hang out with your friends, have a lot of fun, goof off, and play pretend for 4 to 5 hours. I've been into role-playing games my entire life. My first hobby board game, my first hobby game I ever owned was an old D&D box set. Not the red box that everybody knows, but the one before that, back in like the 80s, early 80s. I didn't have the reading comprehension skills at the time to actually play it, but I spent a lot of time looking at the art, and it started a lifelong love affair with the genre and just collecting books, which is what we do. So obviously, I could not be more proud than I am of Genesis, our role-playing game for all settings. Genesis takes the core mechanics that were popularized by our Star Wars role-playing games and presents them in a way that greatly encourages creativity and imagination in both game masters and players. So since the release of the Genesis core rulebook, we've released 2 setting supplements. The Realms of Tyranoth, which is the setting of our Descent, Journeys in the Dark board game and Roombound, and Android, Shadow of the Beanstalk, which focuses on life in the megapolis of New Angeles. So tonight we have a new rules supplement to announce, the Genesis Expanded Player's Guide. Thank you. This supplement contains more tools for game masters and players to create content for existing settings and for their own. It presents 3 new genres. So in the core book of Genesis, we have a lot of sample genres for you to explore. This has new genres, classic horror, the post-apocalypse, and classic myth. And it also included our additional rules for vehicle and adversary creation, as well as helpful advice for creating your own setting, including a step-by-step guide to world building. The Genesis Expanded Player's Guide will be arriving later this year. So I keep waiting, and it's like, sorry, I'm not giving you enough time to applause. So the Expanded Player's Guide will also come with or will be released at the same time as a GM screen, which features a beautiful 3-panel blank screen that you can see here. It's got this amazing green line going down the left side of the screen. Very proud of it. Yeah. How much are you going to give me for it? You got it. Yeah, I know. Yes, exactly. This is simulating the experience of being the game master. Being completely in the dark, wondering what your players are going to do, terrified that they will ignore all of your preparation and go right when you want them to go left. Luckily, Genesis is good for that. If you've played it, it actually makes that much easier. All right, well, so I feel like I should just keep going. Should I just keep going? Do you guys need pictures? Could I just keep rolling with it?
We're going to buy it anyway.
Yeah, that's the spirit. Well, it's a really cool Game Master screen with beautiful artwork that is fantastic by one of our veteran artists, Anders Fiener, who's done some amazing cover artwork for us. He did the latest like Arkham Horror and he did the Genesis Core rulebook. There's Ryan. He's got it solved. So I'm just going to keep going. So one other thing we're really excited about Genesis tonight is something called the Genesis Foundry, which is a platform for user-created content, player-created content, hosted on drivethrurpg.com. A lot of other companies do this. I'm excited to finally bring this to you guys, because obviously Genesis is built upon empowering players and game masters to create their own stuff. So the content on drivethrurpg.com will be available starting tomorrow, which is pretty cool. We actually have a few people who worked in advance, so there will be stuff online immediately tomorrow for you guys to take a look at. And I'm really excited to see what the Genesis community comes up with and what they put out for you guys to download and play. Thank you. Thank you for rolling with it. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So one other thing, and we have a really cool graphic that shows this. So maybe we'll play it and it's like, ooh, that's cool. But one other thing I'm really excited about, the last Genesis thing before we move on, is we are currently working on a Genesis supplement for Keyforge. Yeah! So Keyforge has been an incredibly fun setting to work on. We're having really a ton of fun working on the book. It's nearing completion, and you'll be able to find out more about that early next year as we start the marketing leading up to the release, I think in maybe Q2 of next year. All right. Should we just start talking about some Star Wars? You guys want to talk about Star Wars? All right. You know what? Let me ask, because obviously talking about Star Wars is one thing, but seeing the Star Wars. Oh my gosh! There it is. All right. So, yeah, exactly. Yeah, Kathleen Kennedy somewhere flipped the switch. All right, so there's our cool Keyforge graphic. Yeah, I'm really excited to dive into that world in great detail. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, Star Wars. All right, so tonight we're going to focus on our Star Wars miniatures games, starting with Star Wars Legion. Yeah, so it sounds like most of you already know what Star Wars Legion is, but for those of you who don't, it's our tabletop miniatures game set in the Star Wars universe. It's been out for a little over a year. And it's been cool because it's not only found a home with miniatures gamers, but with Star Wars fans who previously really had no idea what classic tabletop miniatures gaming was. So that's been super gratifying. And at Star Wars Celebration, it was pretty awesome. I was really encouraged by what I saw there because we had a paint and take area at our booth. Did anyone go to Star Wars Celebration? Check it. Yeah, all right. That's a cool show that I recommend. So we had a paint and take area at our booth, and it was really cool to see Star Wars fans of all ages just hanging out, painting miniatures, having a blast. So we were so happy with that we decided to do that here as well. So in the exhibition hall at our booth, you can come to our paint and take area. If you'd like a free Legion miniature, come, hang out, paint with us. Take one away with you. All right, I'm going to take a little drink of water here. I was talking more than I expected. All right. So Legion launched with two factions, obviously, the Empire and the Rebellion. And as you can see, there are already a ton of army building options for each. But here at Gen Con, we're debuting two new factions, the Galactic Republic and the Separatists. Yeah. So these factions arrive with a new standalone core set that will be available for sale here at the show. Yeah. It was dicey for a minute, but they showed up, which is very exciting. All right, but that's not all. Over the course of the next year, the new factions will see a lot of army building options come their way. So let's take a look at those right now. So early next year, we'll have Count Dooku, and Clone Captain Rex. Yeah, so they're going to arrive to join General Grievous and General Kenobi as commander options. I love that Count Dooku, and the art on the packaging is fantastic. Both of these will be available Q1 of 2020. And they'll be followed shortly thereafter by Phase 2 Clone Troopers. These guys come with a bunch of new heavy weapons options, and they will feature a wider range of customizability when you're actually building the miniature, which is something that you'll start to see more and more of as the years go on. Yeah. And then we have the B2 Super Battle Droids, which give the Separatists a harder-hitting core unit. They're something a bit more survivable than the B1 battle droids that make up the bulk of the Separatist forces. You got it. These guys will also be available in Q1 of 2020. All right, so one of the many great things of bringing Clone Wars to Star Wars Legion are all the awesome vehicles. And we have plans to bring a lot of them to the tabletop, starting with the TX-130 Saber-class fighter tank. And the AAT Trade Federation battle tank. Yeah, those are really cool. These will also be available Q1 of 2020. So, it's animations, there we go. All right, so obviously we'll continue to support the classic era as well. So in addition to new units and commanders that for the Rebellion and the Empire that will release over the course of the next few months, we have some other stuff to share. So I'm excited to share with you the Imperial Bunker, which is yes, you may recognize that from Return of the Jedi. It is a highly detailed and customizable terrain piece that also comes with a scenario and a bunch of new battle cards. You can actually take two of those and kind of put them back to back and make a cool little pillbox thing. There's lots of little bits you can take out of there and move around. The Imperial Bunker will release later this year. And in addition to that, we also have the Crashed Escape Pod Battlefield expansion. Yes. Which comes with R2-D2 and C-3PO. This also comes with scenario and new battle cards, but R2 and 3PO, you can also field them either in the Rebellion or in your Republic army. And these guys will be coming to stores later this year as well. All right, X-Wing. Yeah. So it's already been a huge year for X-Wing. This spring, we released the Separatists and the Galactic Republic factions for X-Wing. And at Star Wars Celebration, at our panel, we announced the Epic Battles expansion, which allows for large-scale play and a bunch of new multiplayer formats. And we also announced that huge ships would finally be making their way to the second edition later this year. So now I'd like to share some additional X-Wing products that will be released later and early next year. First is the second edition version of the Houndstooth. So Bosk's iconic starship now sports a new and improved paint scheme and will come with his Z95 headhunter, the Nashta Pup. Look for this winter. Thank you. We also have ships from the Star Wars Resistance TV show making their way to the tabletop, which is exciting. The first is the Volatile Fireball, which has a great ability called Explosion with Wings. I really love that name, which lets you discard and disarm tokens at a price. And also Major Von Reg's Custom TIE Interceptor, which is an incredibly nimble ship and is incredibly punishing to ships in its bullseye arc. Both are coming to stores this winter. All right. So those of you who are involved in the X-Wing online community, is anyone here chatting online about X-Wing? Oh, just a couple. All right. Maybe they're more watching the stream. You probably, then, the people who have been reading about online, some speculation about the next few products that I'm going to discuss. So hopefully you'll be excited about them. Card packs. Yeah. The first is Hot Shots and Aces, which includes several pilots for the game's original 5 factions. Next is Fully Loaded, which features upgrades that appeared in the Republic and Separatist ship expansions, now available here separately. And Never Tell Me the Odds, which adds new punchboard obstacles and new scenario options to the game. All of these packs will be coming Q1 of 2020. All right. So I'm sure someone in the chat on our live stream is saying, what about Armada? What about Armada? Yeah, let's talk about Armada. Yes. So last year at this event, we shared with you the most ambitious miniature we've ever developed. Well, I'm happy to announce that the long wait for the Superstar Destroyer is finally over. And it's available here at the show and at your favorite retailer tomorrow. Yay! But that's not all for Armada. So we teased a couple things at our celebration panel, but now we can finally show them to you. First, for the Empire, the experimental Onager class Star Destroyer, equipped with a prototype kyber crystal fueled weapon capable of doing massive amounts of damage. And for the Rebel Alliance, the Nadiri Starhawk, the massive Rebel battleship that was first featured in the Star Wars Aftermath trilogy of novels by Chuck Wendig. Both of these ships will arrive in stores this winter. So if you'd like a closer look at any of the miniatures I've talked about here tonight, they'll all be in our glass case at the booth, so please come by and check them out. All right. So let's keep things in outer space and talk about a little game called Keyforge. All right, so last year we announced Keyforge, the world's first and only unique deck game. Since then, we've released 2 sets, Call of the Archons and Age of Ascension, and in that time, there have been over 1.1 million Keyforge decks registered on our Master Vault app, which is a lot. That's a lot of decks. When we first introduced that feature, I was like, yeah, you know, maybe like 50,000, best case scenario, 1.1 million, it's crazy. So obviously, we're extremely thrilled with the reception that Keyforge has received. We hope that those of you who are playing it are enjoying it just as much as we are. Awesome. So starting tomorrow, we will have our 10th Vault Tour tournament taking place right here at Gen Con. And you can watch it on FFGLive all weekend long. Hopefully everyone here is doing something else and having fun, or maybe playing the event on your own. So recently, Asmodee announced a new studio for gaming accessories, GameGenic. And tonight, I'm pleased to announce that GameGenic will be providing the first official accessories for Keyforge. Yeah. We're very excited about these products GameGenic has designed. They are gorgeous. So let's take a look. All right, so the deck book and the vault, which are the things on those videos there, are premium storage options. But GameGenic has a full range of products for Keyforge. Single deck storage that come with cool house stickers that let you put them on the face so that you can identify the decks that are inside. Logo sleeves, inner sleeves, and premium chain trackers. These are high quality, thoughtfully designed products, custom made for Keyforge. And everything you see here will be on sale in our booth. So if high quality card storage solutions are your thing, they might be your thing, they're kind of my thing, please stop by our booth and check them out. You won't be disappointed. So of course, the perfect pairing for your Keyforge deck boxes are Keyforge Archon decks. So tonight, I'm happy to announce the third set for Keyforge, Worlds Collide. All right, Worlds Collide drastically alters the metagame by introducing two new houses to Keyforge. The Saurian Republic. Yeah. Yeah, do you think this is cool? Erudite dinosaurs, who are one of the Crucible's oldest and most venerable societies. The Saurians are a force to be reckoned with, pairing tremendous might with unmatched strategic acumen. The second new house is the Grand Star Alliance. The Star Alliance are represented by the intrepid crew of the USS Quantum, who, through an unfortunate cosmic mishap, find themselves stranded on the surface of the Crucible. The Star Alliance's strength is in their diversity, with beings from several planets working together toward a common goal. The Saurians and the Star Alliance will be replacing the Sanctum and Mars houses for this set. Yeah, but that doesn't mean that those houses will be gone forever. With nearly every Keyforge set, the house mix will change. So we release Keyforge sets every spring and every fall, every May and every November. The houses that you're going to get in those sets will change. Sometimes there will be entirely new houses, and sometimes familiar houses will return. Worlds Collide adds over 250 new cards to the card pool, including some really fun surprises that we will reveal over the course of the next few months. Worlds Collide Archon decks arrive in stores this November. Yeah, and I heard everyone worried, there was a general worry, Sanctum and Mars, what's going to happen? Don't worry, we have plans for both of them to come back. They're coming back. All right, so we're approaching the final stage of the presentation, and we have one more new game announcement to share with you tonight. Here it is. To talk about Marvel Champions, please welcome to the stage the visionary behind the cooperative LCG, co-designer of Marvel Champions, FFG executive game designer, Nate French.
Hello. I think this is where I get to say, I am Iron Man. and Black Sabbath is supposed to start playing? No? Oh, that's right, I'm supposed to do that at the end. This has been a very exciting project for me to have been a part of, and I'm happy to be here sharing it with all of you tonight. Marvel Champions is a 1-to-4 player cooperative LCG in which each of you will take on the role of a single Marvel hero working together with your friends to fight against a villain who's trying to complete an evil scheme. I was 1/3 of the design team for this game. I worked with Caleb Grace from our Lord of the Rings LCG and Michael Boggs from our Android Netrunner LCG. Each of them brought a lot of perspective and experience that's different than my own, and this made the design process a lot of fun, sometimes argumentative, but always just a joy to work with them. And tonight, I'd like to give you a peek into that process, some of the things we talked about and focused on as this game came into being, and along the way, highlight some of the things that I feel are the exciting features of this game. Ready to look inside that box? So at the start of a new design session, I like to try to identify some core themes that we could really focus on and guide the type of experience we're trying to create. For this game, I identified 4 such themes. The first of them is empowerment. This is an important concept in Marvel storytelling. So much of their storytelling is about characters coming into great power, but then having to deal with the responsibilities of that power, or the consequences of that power, or the unwanted attention that comes along with that power. And because of this, it was important that we created a game that left the players feeling empowered. Anytime the design, the feedback we were getting, or just our sense was that players weren't feeling that they were able to do enough to impact the game, we'd pull the design in the other direction and tried to create a game that was full of very high-impact, powerful feeling moments. Second element is fast-paced. Early on, we kind of stumbled into a catchphrase, which we came to inspired by the comics, that every turn is a new frame. So we really wanted to build a game with fast, punchy turns where you got in, did your thing, and then got out. So a lot of the core mechanics, such as how you draw your cards, some of the resourcing, were really designed in a way to make it work like this. Third element is humor. Marvel does a great job at weaving humor into their stories, and this keeps the tone light and fun, and we really tried to do the same thing in this game. So you'll notice as you start looking at the cards that a lot of the titles, the story text, the flavor text, even some of the abilities, there's humor woven in to keep the tone light. One example, I'm going to spoil a card here, there's a She-Hulk card in the game, and she has an ability that damages the villain. A lot of the abilities have titles. This ability is called Do You Even Lift? And a lot of our playtesters had a lot of fun with some of these moments in the game. Then the final core element is larger-than-life heroes. We realized right away that the heroes are the stars. They're the reason people are going to want to be playing this game, because they want to feel like they're one of these heroes. So it was important to build a game where they were the center of everything that was going on. So how did we do this? Well, there are 5 heroes in the core set that you can play as. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to tell you who they are yet. But unless some SHIELD agents run out and pull me off the stage, I'm going to do that anyway. So our first hero is Iron Man. I need to ask you now, though, if you're playing as Iron Man, would you really have as much fun as you could possibly have if you weren't also playing as Tony Stark? So this brings us to what I think is probably, for me, the most exciting feature of this game, and it's this idea of alter egos. So many of these characters in the comics, they have both their hero identity and the things they're trying to do as a hero, and they have to balance this with their real-world alter ego. And this you'll also find yourself doing in the game. The hero is on one side of the card, the alter ego is on the other, and as you play, you'll be moving back and forth between the two sides of your identity and trying to deal both with the challenges of the scenario, but also the obligations you have as your alter ego. So besides Tony Stark, who else is in this game? Oh, we have Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers. Spider-Man, Peter Parker. She-Hulk, Jennifer Walters. And Black Panther, T'Challa. This is the lineup for the core set. There'll be many, many more heroes coming out for this game. But before we get ahead of ourselves and look down the road, let's go a little bit deeper into what it's going to look like playing the game as one of these heroes. I mentioned before this idea that these heroes, we need them to be larger than life and feel like they're the center of everything that's going on. So how do we do that? Well, you start with your hero identity card, and then in addition to that card, every hero will come with a set of about 15 or so cards that are exclusive to that hero. These are the cards that make that hero who they are, and it would be kind of weird if another hero were using these cards. An example might be Spider-Man's Web Slinger. Another thing about these hero-specific cards is we kind of broke the rules a little bit with them. They push the power level a little bit farther than you might expect a normal card in a normal card game to do. These are the hero cards, and they're supposed to feel special. After the hero cards, another thing that identifies the character of these heroes is their nemesis. When a hero is going around saving the world or the galaxy, they encounter villains, and some particular villains have it in for an individual hero. So, anytime you're playing as a hero, like Spider-Man, your personal nemesis might show up in any scenario. It's not going to be everyone, but in some scenarios, the nemesis is going to show up. Enter into the game, their cards are going to get shuffled into the scenario, and then if you're Spider-Man and Vulture came after you, you'd have to deal both with the scenario and whatever Vulture is trying to do. So you have a hero chosen. What's the next step of putting your deck together? Well, you have aspects. These are the closest things to classes or spheres that we have in the game. They're kind of different things that a hero can focus on, and there are 4 of them in the core set. The first aspect is leadership. This is for the hero who wants to inspire those around them and lead a team to victory. The second aspect is aggression. This is for the hero who wants to go directly at the villain and take them down and all the henchmen in combat. Third, we have protection. This is a hero that's going to put themselves in harm's way, keeping their friends and innocent bystanders safe. And then finally, we have justice. This is for the hero who is preoccupied with stopping the wrongdoing. The villain's trying to complete a scheme. The justice hero will be really strong at preventing that scheme from coming to completion. So the thing about these aspects is they're not tied to any one hero. You can play any hero with any aspect, and right out of the core set, there's customization rules, but you can also just pick a hero, pick the aspect, put them together, and then you've got a deck and you can go if you're not wanting to customize a deck. So you have this deck. What are you going to be playing against? That's where we're going to look next. You'll always be playing a scenario, and there are 3 scenarios in the core set. The first scenario, you'll be fighting against Rhino. He's going to be trying to break into a shield facility, and you've got to stop him. This is the introductory scenario. It's pretty straightforward. It's designed to teach the game. When you get done with it, maybe play it a couple times, and you're ready to move on. The second scenario, you'll be going against Claw. This one, the difficulty increases a little bit. You're going to have to think a little bit more to defeat Claw. He's not quite as straightforward as Rhino. Then the third and final scenario, which is the big showdown, is against Ultron and an army of killer robots. If you get through all 3 of these and still need more challenge, there's still a few other things in that the core set can do. It has 2 difficulty levels, standard and expert. There's an extra villain of each villain that's more challenging for expert mode, and then there is a set of cards that you can add to the encounter deck to up the difficulty. And then finally, there's this cool little thing, we call them modular encounter sets. There's 5 of them in the core set, and these are encounter sets that you can add to or take out of any scenario to change up the contents of that scenario. So it's going to be different from time to time you play. An example is the first time you play as Rhino, you'll be playing with the pre-built deck that has a bomb scare set of cards in it. Second time through, maybe you take the bomb scare out and you could add a set like the Madame Hydra set, and you'll be playing the scenario with different mix of enemies. That brings us to the end of our tour of the core set. If you're interested in this game, it will be coming out later this fall, but you can demo it in our booth all weekend. This core set will be $59.95, and that is for a complete game for 1 to 4 players. This includes a full play set of all the cards. We've done a few things with the release plan for this game that are pretty exciting as well, and Andrew's going to come back out to share that with you.
Thanks, Nate. So, as Nate mentioned, the core set will be available this October. But, of course, as an LCG, that's only the beginning. So new products will arrive every month, and they're going to come in one of 3 varieties. The first are hero packs. Second, scenario packs. And third, campaign expansions. So hero packs feature a single hero and their nemesis, but not only do hero packs come with more cards for deck building, but each hero pack is also a pre-built, ready-to-play deck. So whether you're into deck building or not, we have you covered. Scenario packs, just like they sound, standalone scenarios featuring classic Marvel Comics villains and a host of additional cards, cohorts, treacheries. And lastly, campaign boxes, which feature a series of interconnected scenarios, as well as powerful villains, iconic heroes, their nemesis, and additional side schemes. So let's take a look at the first few months of the game line. So after the core set comes out in October, November, we'll see the release of the Green Goblin scenario pack. That will be followed by the Captain America hero pack in December, Ms. Marvel, Kamala Khan in January, and the Wrecking Crew scenario pack in February. After that, we'll release several more hero packs leading up to the first campaign expansion that'll come out mid-2020. So I hope you all have as much fun playing and exploring the Marvel Universe as we've had in designing it. It's been a lot of fun. As Nate mentioned, you can check it out at our booth, and we hope you like it. So, yeah. So that's almost all we have for you tonight. So in the tradition of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we thought we'd do something like a mid-credit scene, but we don't have credits. So consider this our post-in-flight report pre-Q&A scene. So please, welcome to the stage Head of Studio for Atomic Mass Games, Will Schick.
Thank you, sir. Hey guys, how y'all doing tonight? I'll take it. Like, who's this guy? We didn't come for this. There's a robot. It's weird. I promise. I think you'll enjoy what we have to show you guys. Thank you so much to Andrew and the FFG crew for letting us kind of crash their party. I've known Andrew for a lot of years. He's a really good friend. I've been a huge fan of FFG forever, and I've played a lot of their games. Andrew and I used to have a standing game every Gen Con, and he crushed me like unmercifully every time. So I feel like crashing his party now is kind of making up for that karmatically. So now we're even, I guess, and you can start beating me into a pulp again. I'm Will Schick. For those of you who don't know me, I have been working in the tabletop miniatures game industry for the last 11 years. And that is why I'm here for you tonight. The Atomic Mass Studio was formed last year. Will my clicker work? It will not work. Oh, there we go. Sweet. We were founded with basically one singular purpose, and I went too far. So, there you go. Perfect. They told me I couldn't mess this up, and I totally did. The best part is I can't go back. So, onward and forward. So really quick, before we dive into what we do at Atomic Mass, I want to talk a little bit about who we are. So Atomic Mass Games was founded basically with a singular purpose. Our purpose was to come together and bring the best creative talent that I've ever met in the industry to create amazing hobby miniatures games around and to create amazing hobby miniatures for those games. I started messing with hobby miniatures games when I was like 12 years old. And then some of my favorite memories are building scale model kits with my dad when I was 6. So I've been doing this forever. And I've made some amazing friends, and I have really just developed a passion and a love for the hobby and what it means and everything that it brings together. So the chance to get to work with an amazing crew and to get to work on an amazing project, which you weren't supposed to know yet, but now you do, has been a lifelong dream come true. One of the big things for me about the hobby and what is brought to me and the people at Atomic Math is our ethos is that games should be fun. And if they're not fun, then what's the point and what are we doing? So everything that we do is really focused on bringing home that enjoyment, that passion, and that love that has really shaped our lives and made us excited to be doing what we do and to bring it all to you. And I hope that as we move forward and you get to see what we have worked so hard and diligently to create, that it will bring the same kind of joy and excitement to you guys as well. So, with that said, this slide should appear, and you should all go crazy. Thank you. So, we came together and we had the opportunity to have our first product be the Marvel Crisis Protocol miniatures tabletop game. Of course, it is set in the Marvel universe. And during the game, I'm going to mess this up again, I bet. It won't click. Maybe Evan can help me out and just click it for me backstage, because this clearly... Oh, there we go. I didn't do that. He did it. Thank you, Evan. Just getting supported everywhere here. It's so beautiful. So in the game, it is a skirmish hobby miniatures game. So you actually form a team of heroes and villains. You can freely mix and match in this game. We didn't want anybody to feel like they had to limit their selections. So you can choose anyone from across the Marvel universe from your collection. You can assemble your own Marvel Dream Team. Once you've done that, you get to basically set forth and fight your opponents. You get to experience your own Marvel stories on top of the table. And the important part before we dive into the game that I want to talk about is, again, it's a miniatures game. And one of the things for us in Atomic Mass is that we are solely focused on miniatures themselves and the miniatures hobby. So we wanted to make sure that these miniatures effectively came together and created the best hobby experience we could. And we've had experience with many different materials, many different styles, and we did a lot of research and work on what would perform best, what would make the game most accessible, what would make our vision for these amazing characters come to life on the tabletop and on people's shelves and just be a joy to paint. In the end, there was really only one option. Will you click? No. Evan, you want to give me a hand again? Thanks, bud. You're the best. And that was to do these kits in hard plastic. So all of our miniatures are hard plastic, which you'll be familiar with if you've seen some of the other companies out there. There's a lot of different options. But in the end, hard plastic basically provides, in our opinion, the best overall experience for the hobbyist. It has the highest detail resolution. Its rigidity and strength allow for an ease of assembly that is basically unmatched. And in addition, the really big thing that we're excited about is what it allows us to do when it comes to the posing and the dynamic sculpting that we can get away with in that material. So we've been just loving it, and it has brought some amazing poses, some amazing characters to life, and I think we've only scratched the surface on what's possible, and we're very excited for you guys to see how the line evolves and how we keep pushing forward and pushing the envelope to make it even more and more dynamic and exciting. So now we've talked about the important bit with the miniatures, and I think I should have told Evan to click some more because there are more slides that show you some of the stuff. Evan, you want to just give me a couple clicks there? There we go. So one of the characters that you'll be seeing in the initial launch is Black Widow. We can click to the next one because I was supposed to kind of click a bunch, but it didn't want to work. Spider-Man, amazing character and a lot of fun. And then the last one I think on here is Captain Marvel. Yes, it is. Perfect. So yeah, so you can see kind of how the poses come to life, the characters go together, and the kits in general. So now we've looked at the miniatures which form the heart and soul of the game. Let's talk a little bit about the game design. Yes, Evan, you're just getting better and better. We have a connection, my friend. So when we were first given the opportunity to design this new miniatures game in the Marvel Universe, basically I knew from years of reading comics and loving them, as well as several of the guys in the studio as well, we had to capture that kinetic, that awe-inspiring, that epic spectacle of superpowered combat. And getting that right was going to be the cornerstone of everything else that we did in the game itself. Playing these characters needed to feel like you were in control of extraordinary individuals. We needed to see Hulk throwing a building, Iron Man unleashing a unibeam in a last-ditch effort to try to save the day, or Red Skull literally warping reality with the cosmic cube as he cackled assured of his ultimate victory. These were the things that we needed players to see on the table happen as they moved their miniatures and rolled dice and laughed with their opponent and told their own stories in the Marvel Universe. So we developed a special resource management system that we called Power to simulate this high-intensity back-and-forth ebb and flow of battle, where once you're on the ropes, you can come back in spectacular fashion and perform some of the most amazing feats possible, because that's when we know that all of these characters do their best work. Characters can earn power throughout the game by performing attacks, by taking damage, and from other certain effects. You then get to spend your power to activate superpowers, such as Captain Marvel's binary form, Black Widow's counter-strike, Baron Zemo's charge. You can also spend superpowers to activate superpowers. Every character has a unique suite of abilities called superpowers that they can use that have varying effects. And then last but not least, you can also use that power to activate your most powerful attacks. So unibeams, all kinds of devastating, awesome effects. Captain America's shield slam. So many cool moments where you hit so much harder and have devastating effects after you've been put on the ropes by your opponent. The last thing that characters can do is they can combine their power together to play what we call team tactic cards. These are once per game events that you get to choose when selecting when you're forced. When you play these, like the name says, they have your characters team up. They spend power together to achieve results that they can't do on their own. Things like a 1-2 punch effect that increases the strength of an attack, or Thor picking up Black Widow and dropping her off next to a strategic location that's super important. All of these things come together to create an exciting and kinetic experience that we think really captures the idea behind the tabletop and the game. Another thing that we really wanted to impact was to make sure that, well, combat was important, and it is the most exciting and fun thing in the game. It wasn't a game about fighting for fighting's sake. That's never been what Marvel Comics have been about. Marvel Comics have always been about amazing stories and really compelling characters interacting with these different events in their lives. How do we save the world from different threats? What is happening around them is more important, actually, than the fights themselves. And we wanted to make sure that this game had that in it, that you weren't simply fighting over some nondescript hill or some random flag and just scoring points that meant really nothing in the general scheme of things. We wanted to make sure that everything that you did was narrative, that it told the story, that it put you in the panels and the pages of the comic book that you and your friends were building together. And if I sound really excited about this, it's because I am. This is a very passionate project for us, and it's something that means a lot. And I hope that once you get a chance to try it out, which you'll get to do tomorrow and over the weekend, because we will be demoing the game here, that you'll find this same sense of story and fun in the game itself. In this way, every objective that you fight over has an impact on the battlefield. When you fight over cosmic cubes, they grant the people who hold those cube fragments power, but at a terrible cost. When you go and hold an extremist console to prevent your opponents from capturing it, you can heal your characters from damage, making these things interact and help tell the story that is happening on the table. The other big thing for us is that when it comes to Marvel, it's very hard to choose. There are so many great characters, there are so many amazing storylines, there are so many amazing things that it was important that we not try to factionalize or bucket these amazing characters. We've seen team-ups across the Marvel Universe that have been far and wide and crazy and unexpected, and that's part of the fun and the enjoyment. So what we did is we created a very unique and interesting dynamics mode in terms of how you build an army and how you create a mission. The way that you do that is you're going to pick 10 characters from your collection. These can be any characters that you like. You can have Cap and Red Skull go together on a team because it's a last-ditch effort to fight it out. Once you have your 10 characters, you then also choose crisis cards, which you saw on the last slide. Those crisis cards are half of a mission. Each player chooses one half of the mission secretly at the start of the game. You reveal those together, and those two things form a full mission. You do this all before you've actually even chosen the squad that you're going to use in the game. So the things you go into, you have a limited set of knowledge. You know what your 10 characters are. You know what your half of the mission is going to be. And then once all of that is established, you look at it, and you choose a squad based on these parameters, based on these things from your 10 characters. So you have basically deck building right there, army construction immediately with what's in front of you. This allows you to try different tactics to play against your opponent or to simply play the things you like. Of course, the epic team-ups of Marvel Comics and in our game are just as important, but also important are those affiliations that we all know and love, the Avengers, the Cabal, the Guardians of the Galaxy. You can also use these affiliations when you construct your squad, which allows you to unlock certain soft benefits that let you feel like you're playing these characters. But it was important that those things didn't override the ability to choose freely what you wanted to play. The last but not least, and my favorite thing about the game, is that we developed a terrain system that doesn't just use the terrain in a normal tabletop way as set dressing and as things to block line of sight, but instead we created terrain that you interact with throughout the game. You literally get to pick it up and throw it at your opponent. They're miniatures, not them. Sorry, I should make that more clear. Please don't throw things at your friends. It's not a good way to keep friends. However, you do get to interact with the tabletop in a spectacular and exciting fashion. Hulk literally can pick up the Daily Bugle and smash it into Red Skull and show him that it's probably not smart to laugh when you're fighting the Hulk. He doesn't like it. It makes him very angry. So as the game progresses, the tabletop also evolves. The story there changes as well as things are destroyed, torn apart, thrown, and just dismembered in crazy and spectacular fashion. And of course, I could go on and on about this, but like I said before, I think it's better if you just go experience it for yourself. So check us out. We're booth 1105, and you can take a demo of the game and try it out for yourselves and see what we've done. And I think that you'll really enjoy it, and hopefully you have as much fun with it as we've had making it. So let's talk a little bit about the product itself. So the game's going to launch this fall with a core set. This is going to be the perfect starting point for you to dive into Crisis Protocol. It gives you everything that you need to form your first team, or you can also split those contents and start to play games with your friends right away. And the core set is designed to introduce you into the core mechanics of the game and to let you experience everything as you start to learn and then expand outward. The core set contains iconic characters: Captain America, Iron Man, Red Skull, Baron Zemo, Spider-Man. We tried to get all of the fan favorites in there and keep a few surprises for later on. In addition to the core set, miniatures for the characters, you're also going to get terrain, because like I said, terrain is so important in this game that we wanted to make sure you had a table that was stocked and ready to go. So that last slide that showed all the terrain, that's all the stuff you're going to get in the core set. You're going to get 2 cars, you're going to get 2 dumpsters, you're going to get a bunch of lampposts and traffic lights and a Daily Bugle, and dumpsters, everything that you need to set your stage for your epic city showdown right away and start throwing things into your opponent's face, because let's be honest, that's why we bought the ticket. Alongside the core set, we're also going to release character packs. The first 2 that come out are Hulk and MODOK. These character packs introduce, of course, the new characters that can be added to your collection and your teams. They also introduce new tactic cards, team tactic cards that you can use during your games. And they also introduce new scenario cards or crisis cards that you can use to build new missions. So they help expand and evolve your collection and allow you to tell new stories and to have a ton more fun with the characters that you already have. Every month after that, we're going to continue to expand new character packs. This is what Atomic Mass does, and this is our primary focus. So we know how important it is to support these games and to keep a continuous stream of new stuff coming to continue to enhance the play environment. And so the following month, post-launch, we'll see the arrival of some of my favorite characters. I think it's the next slide, if Evan wants to like do me a solid. Sweet, there we go. So we're going to be bringing the Black Panther, Killmonger, Shuri, Okoye, and Spider-Man's best frenemy, Venom, into the game. Following that, we're going to see the arrival of the Asgardians, including Thor and Loki, the appearance of the Guardians of the Galaxy, and the dreaded Black Order, led by FFGLive and his wife, Proxima Midnight. We're also going to continue to expand terrain offerings for the game throughout the year. The Marvel Universe is a vast and exciting place, and we have plans to create terrain for many of those. We will be planning to do Wakanda, Hell's Kitchen, and even places beyond Earth like Nowhere and the Dark Dimension. We'll also be releasing new modes of play. This is another really important thing in our mind. It's great to sit down and test your strategy and tactics against your friend in a one-on-one game, but we want to take the game even further. We want to offer as much different modes of play as possible that allow you to tell the stories that you want to tell and have the fun with your friends that you want to have. So we'll be releasing raids next year. This is where 2 players team up and try to tackle a super powerful, awesome boss controlled by their other friend, who's probably not going to be their friend for that hour and a half that they play. These awesome no-holds-barred multiplayer battles allow you to see if you can save the universe from the most epic of bosses, or if you can crush the attempts of those foolish enough to try to stop you. Additionally, there are going to be narrative campaign sets that we're planning for the future that will allow you to team up with all of your friends and tell long-standing stories where every game is connected and you can evolve and advance the storyline and potentially your squad going forward. So we want to make sure that there's all kinds of different avenues for people to enjoy Marvel and the Marvel Miniatures game. The last thing that's really important that I want to talk about is our plans for organized play. So like I said, I've been doing miniatures for a long time, both in the industry and without, as a player. And one of the biggest things that we know is important is robust and exciting organized play in the store. So we're going to launch with a very exciting, I think, organized play program. Organized play is going to include things like single-day events as well as multi-week leagues that you can run. They're going to have unique prize support and exclusives that you can't get anywhere else. That will help alternate art cards, acrylic tokens, things like that, that just enhance the flavor of your game and give you a little bit of exciting bling to throw on the table. However, one of the things I want to talk about with organized play is our philosophy and approach to organized play, especially in the store. For us, again, like I said, our ethos is that everything should be fun. We're looking to get together and enjoy the social act of playing games with each other and telling our stories with amazing miniatures on a dynamic tabletop. In that vein, we've decided that what we've done is called our organized play focused. This means that there are no awards for first place. There are no tournaments where you fight your way to the top and one person wins and a bunch of people walk home thinking I'll do better next time. In play-focused organized play, everybody walks away with awards simply from playing games. The goal is to go in and have fun and enjoy the hobby together. This is everything that we think helps build and generate robust communities, and this will be kind of the thrust of our in-store play. So you'll never we have single-day events that run kind of like tournaments, but that are not tournaments because there is no winner at the end, and they give everybody the same awards as long as you come in, hobby together, and play together. Of course, it is not going to be a hobby miniatures game without painting. Painting the miniatures and making your own renditions of these amazing characters is, to me, and I hope all of you, one of the most exciting aspects of this game. And to that vein, we're going to be doing a whole bunch of stuff with the hobby. We're going to have regular online challenges and competitions where you can show your hobby skills and see if you can tackle certain challenges that we throw out through our Instagram and social media. We're also going to be, of course, hosting higher level convention painting competitions where people can come and show off their best hobby skills and see if they can claim the title of worthy and show the world their artistic skills as well. Let's see. And then last but not least, for those of you who do enjoy a challenge and a test of your mettle in a highly intense environment to see who can come out on top, we will be introducing competitive play at conventions later next year. So if that is something that you want to come out and try and test your might, we will have that as well. All right, so I think with that, I've wrapped up everything, and technical glitches aside, here we are. Boosh, there we go. That's amazing. So thank you very much, guys, for being a part of tonight's in-flight report. I look forward to seeing you all at the booth, along with the other Atomic Mass staffers. tomorrow, and please come by, chat us up, ask us about the game. We also have an amazing selection of the miniatures that are forthcoming that will be in the case. Plenty more than I think what you saw in the slides tonight. So it should be a lot of fun. And then, of course, be sure to check out our website and social media. Sign up, get involved, because we're going to be doing a ton of cool stuff on there, addition to starting live streams and things like that in the coming weeks. So it's a great place to get connected, learn who we are, and find out more about the game. So thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it. I hope you all have a wonderful Gen Con.
All right, that is actually it. Thank you all for coming out tonight again. It was great hanging out with you. For those of you watching on the live stream, we're going to be turning the live stream off for about 20-ish minutes or so while we do our Q&A. But then we'll be coming back with some in-depth look at Arkham Horror Final Hour and Marvel Champions. So stay tuned. Keep that browser window open. For everyone else here, we'll be doing some Q&A. So I think we're going to have like a microphone. Oh, there's the mic stand. We'll get the mic stand out there and have some people. You guys, if you have any questions, just get up and line up behind it. Yeah, and if you want to stick around.